if they think that it takes a hit at the president.
Joining me now is Democratic Congressman John Garamendi of California. He is a member of the Armed Services Committee. Congressman, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Good to be with you, Jim.
So you heard Sarah Sanders there, like the president, saying it's your fault. The Democrats did not want to deal on this. What's your reaction?
Give me a break. Give me a break. What is this guy doing? What is she doing? There are certain facts. There are certain things that are well known. The DACA program was in place. There was a question about its legality. That's a court issue. So what did the president do? He promised during his campaign two things. One, he would terminate DACA. He did that. He created this crisis. He created this problem all by himself. It wasn't something that needed to be done. Maybe the courts would have ruled it over time that it had to be changed. Okay, that could have happened. But he terminated the program. Next, with regard to the negotiations, we have been negotiating with this president. He's the one that put the border wall up as leverage on DACA. He said you won't get DACA until the president gets his beautiful border wall. We actually offered a pile of money for the border wall, and he turned it down. That was back in January. So the facts are there. The reality is it is a problem that was created by this president. It's a problem that he is using these DACA people as leverage to get his border wall. The fact of the matter is his border wall doesn't make us more secure. It wastes a pile of money, and now he wants to take the money out of the military.
Oh, wait,
I mean, this is crazy.
You said you offered money for the wall, but you're saying that it doesn't make the country any safer.
Well, that was a negotiation back that Senator Schumer offered a pile of money for the border wall in exchange for DACA, and the president turned it down.
Would you be willing to vote for something? I know you're not a fan of the wall, but would you be willing to vote for more money for the wall to get through legislation protecting the 800,000 or so Dreamers?
We've offered that. We said we would be willing to do that. Let's look at the details of the deal. What's he talking about here? But really, if you want to protect all of this, you need a comprehensive immigration reform that actually was a bipartisan bill that was passed the Senate about 5 years ago. The House of Representatives, Speaker Boehner and the Republicans wouldn't even take it up for a hearing. So we got ourselves a mess, a real mess here, one that needs to be resolved. And to hold these students, I mean, come on, give me a break. His tweet this morning, these people are coming across the border so they can become DACA. Wait a minute, DACA, you had to be in here, you had to be in the United States before 2007. Yeah. Give me a break, Mr. President. Could you at least be accurate?
Let me ask you this. I'm curious as a Democrat, whether you are concerned that the president's stances are working. CNN did a poll just a couple of months ago, the generic ballot in the 2018 race, Democrat versus Republican. Democrats had a 16-point lead. Now it's down to 6 points. That's about a third of the lead you had just a couple months ago, and what are we, 7 months out from the election. Are you concerned that rhetorically, politically, you're losing this battle with the president?
What I'm concerned about is what's happening to this nation. That's my concern. What my concern is about these 700, 800, maybe more than 1 million young people that are trapped in this vice that the president has put them in. I'm concerned about border security. I'm concerned about the Coast Guard being underfunded. Fact of the matter is the Coast Guard confiscated 200 tons of contraband, heroin, and so forth. At the border, they collected 20 tons. So if you want to go where the problem is, fund the Coast Guard.
I'm just curious, though, Congressman,
deal with these issues,
if you're concerned that you're gonna lose the House based on where these polling trends are going.
The Democrats are concerned about public policy. We want a better way to deal with these issues, a better plan. We want a comprehensive immigration reform. We want a transportation infrastructure program that is actually funded, that doesn't reverse the burden and put it back on the small communities that couldn't even begin to afford a sanitation system or a transportation system. We want to make sure that the military is not only well-funded, but is able to operate smart and effectively around the world. We want a policy internationally that is effective, not the helter-skelter policy that we now see in Syria with this president. Oh, we've won the war against ISIS. Yes, we've pushed them out, but we have not won the ideological war. And Syria is an unholy mess now with Iran and Russia and others involved. We want to have some rational policies, and we're going to continue to put those forward. As we do so, I think the public will look to the Democrats as a balance against this crazy president.
Well, Congressman, let me ask you about an issue closer to home for you. Sacramento,
Sure.
of course, in your district, the unrest there following the police shooting of Stephon Clark, particularly over the weekend. Do you see a way out for this?
It was a tragedy, an unnecessary shooting. There is a way out, and just 20 miles to the west in Vacaville, we have a new police chief that's been there for a couple of years. He's instituted very significant training procedures for his men and women on the force, as well as community policing. Crime is down. Shootings are down. Sacramento has a very good city council, a good mayor who cares deeply about these things, and I think out of this tragedy will come a much better police force in Sacramento with much better training and also much more community policing. All of those things are necessary. And do keep in mind that the president in his budget tried to remove or significantly diminish the COPS program, which provides federal support to police agencies all around this country. And so Sacramento will come out of this in a better situation. But it is tragic. And one thing that I do not understand is why police shoot to kill. It doesn't seem to me to be necessary. And that's a training issue that I think has to be put into this whole mix.
Well,
so, yes, Sacramento is very, very seriously concerned about this. I understand why people are in the street, and rightfully so, and peacefully so.
Such a familiar tragedy, no question, for a number of communities around the country. Congressman Garamendi, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
I mean, ending on that note, we also have the aunt of Alton Sterling coming up, the Baton Rouge case where he was shot and killed.
Yep.
Without any, one police officer was fired, the other suspended, but no legal recourse.
That's the thing. So often